Cindy Water, Rachel Clark, and Ed Lentz.
Well, I can get pretty excitable, but he is a tough act to follow. So I'm not even going to try. I'm happy to hear that, it sounds as if you were approaching this with caution. I would if I were entering into anything with Verizon. I've seen what they've put up in Santa Rosa. Previous speakers are correct. I mean, they look like a bunch of little birdhouses dangling. It's very unattractive. And I'd just like to second what Mr. Lynch said so eloquently, mostly because I live right around the corner from you on 427 Even Street. And I don't know, I look at other neighborhoods and they have everything nicely undergrounded. And then I've got this, bizarre, evil cocktail of wires and things hanging up on an old wooden pole, and I just don't think this is going to help. And I think as far as health issues are concerned, I think it's something we should be worried about. This is a new technology, and we should proceed with caution. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you, Cindy.
Hi, good evening. Rachel Clark at 1097 Austin Way. And I found out about this through my neighborhood. I want to thank you guys so much. That's awesome. On nextdoor.com. I understand that it's not on the agenda, but more importantly, I think it's amazing that you guys rallied and you posted it on nextdoor.com. So this is what I get, a sense of community. And that's what's so special about Napa and so special about our community, that they care. And they're saying, hey, to you, our constituents are saying to you, our city council members, this is not okay. And we need public hearings, we need meetings. And in December, as a matter of fact, we can talk about this, the super block, that got pushed through. I called up Doris and I said, Doris, what is going on here? This is getting pushed through in December. Everybody's on vacation, but our families are away. All these things in December are getting pushed through. And I didn't even see what was going on about the cell towers. Had I known about the cell towers, I would have called my friends and neighbors. So I feel a lot of things in December were just pushed through. So I think that we need to hold more community meetings, we need more input, and we need more awareness. And I think that you're hearing it from your community tonight. So again, let's listen to our constituents. Let's get more involvement. And I understand about the fires, right? Because I think that's a huge issue, is the communication, right? And but my part of the solution was I called up Brad from a hard line, and I said, Brad, and it was a number he didn't recognize, and it was me. And I said, Brad, we need you. And he's all, well, what do you need? And I said, Brad, we can't have these sound bites on TV. We need you guys. We physically need you guys. And then I said, we need a town hall meeting in Browns Valley. And, we have a fire going on over here. And then we need a meeting at city council. And you guys made it happen. And sometimes that's what we need to do, is go back to basics. We need town hall meetings. We need you to meet with your constituents. And I hope that you're hearing us loud and clear tonight. Thank you.
Yes. And Brad had nothing to do with that meeting, but we definitely wanted to communicate.
Good evening, council members. Ed Lentz, 3306 Browns Valley Road. And I'm one of the 4 residents that my property value would go down if that monstrosity is put up there. I didn't really realize the statue of it and how it looked till I went back and through my recycle and got the specs of it and stuff, and I'm really opposed to it and hope that you have a better understanding of it and a location that they could be put in, or another area that Verizon can go to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed.
Mark Graham.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Mark Graham, and I live in Elk Grove. We are facing a similar sort of situation in Elk Grove where AT&T has asked our city to amend the municipal code to make it easier for them to get the city's permission to install these cell antennas on the light poles and utility poles in the public right-of-way. Anyhow, similar battle to what's going on here. You may know that Sacramento has already gone down this road and made this mistake. And I read something today from a couple that owns a house in Sacramento. And what they said was, I could not, in good conscience, sell my house to a couple that wanted to conceive or raise children. And that's because of the electromagnetic hazard that was right out in front of it. If you just go ahead with this and you give them carte blanche, you'll put people in that situation. I would be very interested. If I were, well, my opinion is that this council should pay good attention to the whole property value question. My understanding is Napa was one of 325 cities, including the city of Elk Grove, that opposed SB 649 last year. I don't know how much you know about the history of it. It was supported by Verizon, AT&T, and their lobbying group, and widely opposed by people that spoke up from a consumer point of view, health impact point of view, and the power of cities. Well, what they figured out is that what they were not able to basically take from the cities by force through the legislature, they figured, well, we'll just try and get it by the city's agreement with us one-on-one. I haven't not read the proposed agreement or the agreement that you have with Verizon, but it sounds to me like a citywide version of SB 649. Maybe worded slightly differently, but what they could not take by force, they're trying to get by agreement. Don't let them do it. Preserve and promote the unique quality of life that is Napa, right up there behind you. Does that not say? Well, that's the answer. I can't say it any better than what they just said.
Thank you.
And I think that's a beautiful message for the council and for everybody working for city government. I have a couple other notes here. I would seriously take a look at the liability transfer, which Mr. McGavin mentioned earlier, and consult with other cities, including the city of Burbank and Santa Rosa, as to what they learned and what they would do differently. And lastly, I would ask, my recommendation, ask the city attorney to make up a list of strategies for how you can defend and protect the city and its residents from this. I think a lot of times the city attorney looks at it as, my job is to, how can we make this happen? You could take a different approach. Give the council direction on strategies that the council could take to protect the city and its residents from this onslaught, and your city attorney will deliver. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. Bruce Fenton, 444 Montgomery Street. A couple of things about the need for this. I really struggle to see why, with self-reception in Napa being pretty good, that we need to have these towers. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it would seem to be biased against old parts of town, because where there's no power poles, where everything's already been underground, there will be no towers. So how is that area being addressed, and that inconsistency being addressed? Why can't the same cables that are being put underground elsewhere be provided to the rest of town, so that we don't have these towers in our urban area? Of the towers, the pictures that I've seen online do not quite look like the architectural renderings that were shown on the brochure that I saw. So that really needs to be considered, and also considered in terms of, if we go to modify a house in Old Town, we go through a design review process. Why isn't the proponents of this asked to do a design review and how it will impact the visual and aesthetic qualities of downtown, or of Old Town? So they're factors that I think should be very much considered, and the safety of it needs to be proven before it should be even considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Carol Woodowis, and I was just informed about this today. I really am not well educated on any of it, but I have to agree with all of these people that have spoken about aesthetics and the quality of Napa and property value. But I'm here because I own Hopper Creek Montessori, which is on the corner of 2nd and Seymour. And obviously we service, many children year after year. We've been there for 24 years. And I understand that one of these towers will be very close to our facility. So my concern is the health hazards for our kids. I did a little bit of research, Googled what this cell phone radiation does, and they don't have a whole lot of studies, but the studies that they do have say long-term effects can be leukemia, brain damage, miscarriages, not a risk that I'm willing to take with the children that are placed in my hands at the school. So I think for health reasons is why I'm standing here today. I think our children are the future, and I think we need to protect them. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to share, we did have some folks here this afternoon with some concerns about Verizon. At that point, the council directed staff that no permits will be issued, no encroachment permits will be issued until the process will be brought back to the council for our review and input. Some of the elements that should be addressed in the permit issuance will include staff evaluation of specific site locations to minimize negative impacts on private property, public outreach process for those sites, aesthetic considerations and site-specific mitigation that might address negative impacts and impacts to infrastructure, facilities, or equipment in the public right-of-way.